I really apologize for not posting for a week, but I had some technical issues with the software I was using to record my podcast. I hope you can understand. Hello and welcome everyone to Copy and Paste, the clean and family-friendly Reddit reading podcast. This is the 7th episode of r/EntitledParents, where it's parents in national elections. Okay, I don't even know anymore. And don't forget, if you like this podcast, then it would be greatly appreciated for you to like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me. Okay, let's get started. The first post by user/Himabee. Quick backstory. I work at a supermarket, and we have a petrol station just up the road. Normally I work on the tills, but I was asked by my manager to head up to the petrol station and direct traffic on the tarmac due to fuel shortage and amount of cars queuing to get in. So I'd been standing out on the tarmac of our petrol station for about 25 minutes, telling all the customers that wanted fuel that we only had unleaded petrol left and no diesel. Most people were understanding and simply drove on, and others looked like they wanted to tear my tongue out of my mouth. I was expecting this. However, it was at this point I was told over the speaker system to no longer let cars in as we had entirely run out of fuel. And this is when I started getting grief from just about everyone. About 30 minutes after we ran out of fuel, I met the entitled mother. At this point it was around 4:30 p.m. and she pulled up to me, rolled down her window and screeched out. Entitled mother, "Diesel!" Me? "No, sorry darling, we ran out about half an hour ago." Entitled mother, "That's absolutely bullcrap. My friend came here earlier on and got fuel. You need to sort it out and get some more now." We did have fuel earlier on, but we ran out, thanks to how busy it's been. At this point, one of our delivery vans pulled into the petrol stations and went to the pump they had just reserved just for delivery vans, and entitled mother didn't approve. "Why the hell does he get fuel?" "That's a Puma reserved for our delivery drivers. That's how they fill up before and after their runs." "I'm using that pump." She then rolled up her window and swerved her car to try and drive around me to get into the petrol station and towards the pump. She did this without indicating at all, and she was promptly hit by another one of our vans that were also coming to fuel up. I made sure she was okay, and the driver, and when they both agreed they were okay, I headed inside and called my manager and left the rest to her. I don't know what the result was of the accident, but the damage wasn't too bad from what I saw. The second post by Megan B2174. So, my grandfather was a pretty wealthy man, and because of it, he and my mother had a rocky relationship, and haven't spoken in over 5 years. My two sisters turn out just like my mother, a high sense of entitlement. Believe the world owned them everything. My grandfather's money didn't help this. They expected my grandfather to pay for a lavish lifestyle. Eventually, he ended up cutting them off, which caused them to stop speaking to him. They even tried pressuring me to do the same. I refused. Me and my grandfather were really close. I spent a lot of time at the house. It was one of my favorite places in the world, and I'm absolutely thrilled he left it to me. My grandfather was my best friend. He was the first person I came out to when I was 15, and his reaction is still my favorite. But he sadly passed away a few months ago. This wasn't a surprise by any means, as he had been battling cancer for years. Well, my grandfather ended up leaving everything to me and two of my cousins he was also close with. I got the family home, which us, a beautiful 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom house with a pool and a hot tub. I was also left a good chunk of money, which will really help with student loans. One cousin got my grandfather antique car collection. Not sure it can really be called a collection as there is only 3, but my grandfather calls it that, so that's what I'm going with. My other cousin got my grandfather painting collection, which was pretty big, and has a few pretty expensive paintings in it. But seeing as she is an artist herself, I doubt she'll sell them. I think she actually wants to donate a few of the more well-known to our local museum. My mother and sisters got nothing. Well, as you can likely guess, they freaked out. There wasn't much they could do about my cousin, as they didn't really speak to my family for other reasons, but with me, they flipped out. My mum was mad because this was her family home, and she thinks she deserves it. My sister thinks I should give it to her because she's married and has 3 kids, and she needs it more. She already has a nice house, by the way. This one's just more expensive. I do not want to give the house to her. My grandfather wanted me to have it. That got to mean something, right? And just because I do not have a family right now, it doesn't mean I won't in the future. Me and my boyfriend have even talked about it multiple times. Like I said, this place means a lot to me, and I want to keep it. My other sister has no interest in the house. She just wants some of the money I got. She recently got out of prison and is pretty much broke. I wouldn't have had a problem giving her some off of the money, but if it weren't for the fact that before going to prison, she stole a lot of money from me and many other family members, including my grandfather. The third post by user /Flossie1384. I work at a preschool and work with a pre-kindergarten class, 4-year-olds. We start the new school year at the beginning of the month. Most of the kids that I have already known me because they were in the 3-year-old class last year, but we have a few new kids. This one kid is our entitled parent's daughter, and I will call her S. From the first day, S thought that she didn't have to do anything any of the teachers asked her to do. For example, on the first day, I asked her to line up so we could go inside and eat lunch, and she replied that she didn't want to and I couldn't make her. I asked her to stop playing and lay down during nap time, and she refuses. I asked her to stop playing during lunch and eat, and she continues. On to my introduction to her mother, our entitled parent. One day, I was finally able to get her to be still and go to sleep during nap time, and I rewarded her with a jelly bean and a sticker. Well, normally someone else takes her to her mother, but on this day, I had to. As showed her mother the jelly bean and how she earned it, it's very proud of herself. Instead of praising her and telling her how proud she was that she did what she was supposed to, I got reprimanded because I gave her one single jelly bean. She told me that S isn't allowed any candy. I was never told this until this moment. I apologized and told her it was just a reward because she was good during nap time. The entitled parent said that she is trying to get her to stop taking naps because they don't take naps in kindergarten. I just apologized again and walked back in. I later asked my nephew, who is in kindergarten in the same school district as me, if he takes naps, and in fact, he does. Yesterday, S cut in front of another little girl while they were walking in a line. I had her move to the end of the line where she told me that she hates me in this school. But at this point, this comment is nothing new because she says it every time she gets in trouble. I tell her that it is not nice to say that sort of thing. During lunch, she was constantly talking, and I had to tell her multiple times to stop talking and to sit down and eat. By the time lunchtime ended, she had almost half her food left on her plate. At our school, parents pack their lunch for the kids in a lunchbox, so most of the time the parents can tell how much the child eats. I told her and the other little girl, who she was talking to pack up because lunch was over. Also, during nap, she had to be told constantly to lay down and stop trying to talk to the other kids. Today, my director talked to me and asked me to not ask S to put her head on her mat anymore because her mother complained to her. My boss is under constant stress this year, and I want to do anything I can to relieve some of that stress from her. The mother also complained because I made the child clean up her lunch because she was finished, but my boss asked the other teacher in the room what happened, so she took my side on the issue. Now, I don't know how I'm supposed to handle this girl if her mother thinks that she doesn't have to follow the rules, and her daughter has the same belief. It is only the end of September, but I'm already ready for June to come, so I won't see this little girl anymore. I think it's unfair because the other kids are great and very sweet. Unfortunately, that was it for today. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would greatly appreciate you to like and subscribe. To listen to this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or one of minimal platforms, or to visit any of my socials, click the link in the description, and please feel free to send me an audio message or leave a comment. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye!